Meanwhile, the United Kingdom too is in a state of flux. The mayhem in the markets continues. The pound has weakened. The IMF is openly criticizing the government's plan to cut taxes. But the country's new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, is openly defending it. After maintaining her silence for several days, Liz Truss woke up this morning and hopped from one local radio station to the next. Her objective was clear. Truss wanted to reach out to the grassroots and defend her economic policies. But her statements don't inspire a lot of confidence. Consider these quotes. Britain is facing very, very difficult economic times. We had to take urgent action. We won't see growth come through overnight. What is important is that we are putting this country on a better trajectory. From stating the obvious to being defensive, Truss seemed to be completely out of depth. A member of her cabinet also struggled to defend her plans. Take a look.
The UK went into this with a strong balance sheet.
Where the UK is an outlier.
Our GDP
UK is an outlier here in financial markets.
Well, we've got a very strong balance sheet. The UK has the second lowest debt to GDP ratio in the G7. So get on and deliver that plan. That's what I, the Chancellor, and my colleagues in government are focused on: is getting on, delivering that growth plan.
It is good to chase growth, but are Liz Truss and her government out of touch with reality? Because her economic policy started this turmoil in the first place. Now the Bank of England has decided to intervene. It has announced an emergency action. The UK Central Bank has launched a £65 billion programme, or $69 billion. For the next 2 weeks, it will buy government bonds from the market. But why was this necessary? Britain's central bankers are concerned. Take a look at this press release now. It is from the Bank of England. I'm quoting, "Were dysfunction in this market to continue or worsen, there would be a material risk to UK's financial stability." I repeat, a material risk to financial stability. Sounds like a doomsday scenario, doesn't it? Well, the situation is indeed serious. The Bank of England is concerned about the turmoil created by Truss and her new policies. Their impact on the market has been severe. Let's now decode that for you. Liz Truss is undertaking sweeping tax cuts, the biggest that the UK has seen since the 1970s. They are worth well over $48 billion. When the plan was announced, there was a huge sell-off in the markets. Investors began dumping their holdings, especially the government bonds. And this is exactly what the Bank of England is worried about. Because the mass sell-off was like a vote of no confidence for Liz Truss and her government if the situation gets out of hand. The Bank of England is worried that the money could dry up. The flow of credit to business and households could fall. And that would further destabilize the British economy. It could fuel more inflation. Those are the exact reasons why the IMF is worried too. Yesterday on the show, we told you about this. The UK has suffered a rare and a stinging rebuke from the IMF. It asked London to reevaluate its economic policies. Think about this. When did you last hear a major economy like the United Kingdom being criticized like this? That too by the IMF. The Truss government's policies are being termed ridiculous, even a source of national embarrassment. Many are taken aback by the recent events unfolding, but there are still some who had anticipated this. I'm talking about the former Chancellor Rishi Sunak. Yes, the man who lost out to Liz Truss in the Conservative Party election. He had warned Truss against these very tax cuts. During one of the debates, those same words are now going viral on social media.
So I don't think the responsible thing to do right now is launch into some unfunded spree of borrowing and more debt. That will just make inflation worse. No, Liz, we have to be honest. We have to be honest. But borrowing your way out of inflation isn't a plan. It's a fairy tale.
We'll assume that Sunak is having the last laugh right now. He will not be attending the upcoming Conservative Party conference. Apparently, he wants to give Truss all the space she needs to own the moment. Not a good time to be in the limelight, we'll say. Politicians in the opposition are now trying to put the government on the mat. Listen in.
This is a government that on Friday took the reckless action which lost control of the economy. And for what? To cut taxes for those who are earning hundreds of thousands of pounds, and now so many working people across the country are facing trouble with their mortgages, trouble with their prices. So this is really serious.
It is serious indeed. The British government now has its task cut out. Not only does it need to stabilise the British economy, it also needs to restore trust of the international investors. But Liz Truss remains adamant she still wants to walk on the same path. But the longer this crisis continues, the harder it will be for her government to justify its own policies. WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.